Well, welcome to Desk Lunch. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be, wherever you are in the world, Denzians of the internet. I'm your host, Andrew McAllister of Desk Lunch. I'm the Director of Academic Computing and Innovation at OCAD University. And first, before we kick off, I first of all just want to acknowledge that we in Toronto, Canada, are on the ancestral and traditional territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat, who are the original owners and custodians on the land on which we live, work, and create. So this week on Desk Lunch, we're going to talk about whiteboard collaboration in Adobe XD. How can you collaborate in XD using the whiteboard plugin? I had this inquiry about, I'm looking for some more advanced whiteboarding tools. I really want to use something else. What are those things? And so in this episode, we're going to actually look through the whiteboard plugin in Adobe XD. It's relatively new. I believe it came out in spring 2020, probably around March or April. And it's been around for a short while. We're going to look at that, and we're going to actually compare it to some other tools as well, too. So let's get started. So Desk Lunch is just your snack-sized freeform hangout for art design, creative educators, and ed tech folks. And I love to help artists and designers learn the things they can do to be creative with technology. So I work at OCAD University, which is the Canada's largest and oldest art and design only university. So I wanted to look at this whiteboarding tool and then sort of think about how do we make improvements on engaging with learners. So specifically, I'm kind of pitching this not necessarily towards design teams, although it's still relevant to design teams, but specifically interactions between instructors and learners, whether that be at the sort of high school level or probably more likely university college. And, what can these tools really do? And people are really keen on whiteboards, and whiteboarding as a kind of concept has been built into all kinds of different applications. Remember Adobe Connect? Still around. Adobe Connect has a whiteboard built into it. I think that was probably my first exposure to using whiteboards in synchronous applications. It's just a different way for you to engage with a group so that people can participate rather than sit there and listen to a talking head. We're going to go over the whiteboard in XD, and then we're going to look at Mural, Miro, and Padlet. And I'm partially doing this for myself as well, too. I was somewhat familiar with these tools. I've gone into them a little bit more, but really, like, full disclosure, this is really meant to be a kind of first impressions session. Because if you're an educator, or even if you're a design leader and you're going to be working with a group of people, many of those people will not be familiar at all with any of these tools. And for that reason, you kind of want a tool that is frictionless and fun. And so as a result, I have handicapped myself slightly by learning these tools a little bit just at a surface level and trying to use them to achieve a very simple results very quickly without diving too deep into like every single capability, because the use cases can be broad. Also, full disclosure, I am not an expert in design thinking methodology. I'm not, it's not something I practice regularly. I do have a background in working as a designer and doing conceptual design and participatory design in the old world when we used, stickies and whiteboards and things like real physical whiteboards. So I will be seeing that through that lens. Okay, so let's actually just dive in and take a look. I'm just going to switch to the old pooter. So here we are actually in XD, and I already have some whiteboards up here. So first of all, actually, let's get simple. So first of all, you have to install the whiteboard plugin. It's not in XD by default. And the way that you would do that is go to Plugins, Discover Plugins. You get this nice plugin browser, which I just lost. Let's do that again. Whiteboard, Discover Plugins. There it is. Do a search. Type whiteboard. there is the whiteboard plugin, and I have installed it. The other way is to browse to adobe.ly/whiteboard, and it brings up a web page that looks like this. And it kind of gives you a bit of an introduction to how the whiteboarding plugin works, generally speaking. This is actually a Spark page. Handy dandy. And actually what I'll do is I'll pop that in the chat. And you can check that out. Okay, back on task. So once you install the whiteboard plugin, you will get, we'll go to whiteboard. You get a number of different templates, which are actually quite beautiful and useful and are based on templates from various places like IDEO and IBM. And what you can do simply, and this is already an existing whiteboard template, this gives you an idea of some of the templates that are available. I'll zoom in on here. Here's Crazy Eights. Crazy Eights is a popular design sprint method used by Google and other companies. It's a fast sketching exercise that challenges people to sketch 8 distinct ideas in 8 minutes. And full disclosure, I did some collaboration previous to this session with some colleagues, and we use the drawing tools in Whiteboard to make these various different things. There's a donut with a bite taken out of it and some interesting abstract shapes. Yes. They give you a number of dots and things so that you can say like, oh, I like this one. I'm going to place my dot on that one to say that that's my preferred one. And what's also good is that they provide you these stickies which describe how to use each one of these things. This is quite welcomed because it's implying that users might not be completely, this actually might be kind of new to them. So not only using the tool, but using one of these methodologies, or they might have forgotten, like myself, because honestly, you know, if you don't use it, you lose it. And it's good to be reminded of these processes. And also they change over time. They're refined. So we actually kind of played around with this, and Hala did some drawing here. That's quite nice. It's an OCAD student. But what I'll do, just to give you an idea, I'll flip over. So this is a completed one, and we used the co-editing feature built into Adobe XD in order to do this. I'm going to actually flip over to another whiteboard I have, where I have a few examples here. So first of all, I pulled up a business model canvas, and the way that I would grab or implement one of these templates is you can actually really just pick one here. How about hopes and fears? That one's a bit terrifying. You double click on it and it drops it onto your canvas here, and then you can zoom in and you can start editing. Very nice. So you have these stickies that you can input. Of course, it uses all of XD's native tools where you can align things. It's lovely. And then I can just simply double click here and say, it would be great if could it would be great if so you can just double click on these boxes and enter whatever it is you want. And if you're in co-editing mode, others can enter this as well too. What's interesting is if I put a lot of text in here, it does wrap. I did notice, however, in some examples, I'm going to find it. In the how we might, so here's another example with a sticky. How might we improve whiteboarding experiences? We could build something fun for, oh, wait a second, what's happening here? So this I found a bit strange, and this is actually, I think this is actually a bug in the template. It's not a bug in the sticky. Because here over in the templates, you can go to Elements, and you can grab a new Post-it note. Come on, let's get it. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. My fascinating ideas come to life. You notice that the text actually does wrap when you add a new sticky. So I think that this is just a bug in the template and probably could be easily remedied with an update. So this is actually quite nice, and you can kind of organize these, move these around. You did notice that I accidentally actually started taking this apart. Like if I was a user and I was sort of a little click happy, I might break this sticky if I wasn't familiar with XD, but I know a little XD. So what's great about these templates is that they're generally well thought out. And you can see here, this one is created by the Stanford D School and IDEO. I quite like these templates a lot because there are a great many of them and they seem quite sensible. Like, for example, there's a design thinking canvas. And there's an empathy map. It's actually kind of neat as well, too, because it provides me some insight into how the Adobe XD design team are thinking themselves. Like maybe they use some of these tools. I would imagine they would, or folks at Adobe. So for that reason, quite like them. Very good. And as we go into the elements, as people edit the various stickies, you can drop little emojis on. There it is. Oh, I like that idea. I love it. I love that one too. So those are quite good. Okay. So generally working with the stickies, A-okay. The other thing to mention about co-editing, and I actually couldn't find this information prior to this, but I seem to recall that co-editing in XD is limited to 5 or 6 people. If there's anyone who's actually on the stream right now and you feel like sharing your email address and you have XD, I can make you a co-editor on this document and we can kind of like crash around and try it together. So if you're interested, you can put your information in the chat. If not, just hang out and come along for the ride. So at this point, what I'll do is I'll move on to some other examples. So the ones with stickies, generally, very nicely laid out, sensible, cool. Here's one which is around sketching and drawing. And these are, I did this very quickly. This is my horrible drawing with my mouse. In order to draw with XD, I guess I actually don't need these. In order to draw with XD, you need to enter the drawing mode. So you have to say start drawing. And then you can draw. And you can see here, this is my representation of climate change. You can see here that there's a little bit of lag. And it's also, I'm in a separate mode here. This is a window within a window. The dark clouds of foreboding pollutants. You can, I believe, use an iPad with a pencil to actually do this drawing. And I imagine that it is a much better experience, or rather you can use Sidecar to do this. But this I found slightly unusual, where you kind of have to go into this other mode. But as you can see, some of the other students got around it and not a showstopper. So that's that. And then I have this object. It's actually kind of nice because it's object oriented, so I can then move this around. However, then if I want to go in and edit this again, it's a series of, looks like SVG objects that I can't edit the curves, but I could delete that object, for example. Okay. The part where I became slightly more flummoxed was doing flowcharts. So, for example, here's a flowchart example. And here's a flowchart as to whether I should buy more guitar pedals. Of course, the answer is I should always buy more guitar pedals, but you know, your mileage may vary. If you're wondering what those are, that's these things, you know, where you plug them in and they make magical sounds, and you know, you can sound like a dreamy landscape. It's very exciting. They have knobs and things, and they're very like, I kind of love it. Anyway, the point is, when you're building these flowcharts, the first thing you'll notice is that this text didn't wrap either. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, it does have some box styles such that you can show decisions, but these arrows are kind of fixed. I don't know if you can see this, but it's actually just an object. It's not live. So if you want a different connector, you can click on one of these and get another connector, but then you're kind of limited to XD's transformation tools. So you can rotate it as an SVG object and transform it. But and you can do a 3D transform, which is like super fun. No, why is it dimmed out? I'm confused. Anyway, probably because I'm in that's why. I was in prototype mode. No? Okay. Whatever, man. Yes, you can rotate it. Sort of cool. You can do this. Ooh. Ooh. It's lovely. Super neat. However, not exactly what you want to do, because, for example, if I wanted to connect this object over here, and then I wanted to point the arrow somewhere else, it's a static object. So you have to actually modify this in order to make it go to the place that you want. This to me is like, it's kind of going to be a non-starter with a non-technical user. Like, people are going to be like, what? How do I make the arrow go somewhere else? I'm sorry, people don't all sound like that, but that's kind of what I sound like when my brain is thinking. So this, I think, is a little confusing, and people will not love this. So flowcharts, not great. You can see here's an example where I actually use the 3D transform command to like rotate the arrow and move it around so it was pointing to the right place. Yes. So there's also some other things here. So we got a flowchart things, so we can add other decision labels. Actually, let's see if that same issue. No. Let's turn this off. Let's move this decision. Let's make this a very complicated decision. See, again, it doesn't resize the shape to fit the text, which is somewhat, I think, confusing for some people. Similarly, mind maps, kind of same problem. In fact, with mind maps, it's almost worse, because here we have an object. Here I have a mind map. So, well, actually, no, maybe not. So I can scale the object like this and move it around and connect it. And yes, I know that this is responsive, and that's good. If I then wanted to move this over here, I guess I could grab this and kind of move it here, but it doesn't, while it snaps to the object, it doesn't snap to a handle necessarily of that object. So again, like, it does require a bit of manual kind of messing around to get it to do what you want it to do. Maybe this is actually not as problematic as I thought it originally was. Does require a little bit more effort, though. Okay, so the miscellaneous elements are fine and good. We talked about draw. I looked at some of the templates. Yeah, Yeah. So actually, then it sort of leads you to ask, okay, so what should I use? So I turned my attention to the power of the internet and just asked my community, what is your fancy collaborative online whiteboard tool of choice? And actually, maybe I'll just refresh this, see if there are any new updated answers. And I'm sort of surprised Padlet came up so high. So we're going to take a quick look at Mural, Padlet, and Miro, just to sort of see what it is that people might expect from a whiteboarding experience and why I'm perhaps wanting a bit more from the Adobe XD Whiteboard experience, and why I think that those barriers, the friction and fun element, is kind of not quite there with the plugin. So let's actually start. Well, let's start with Miro. So Miro is interesting because it also has a integration for XD, and it has prototyping capabilities. So in a weird way, it kind of treads on the toes of XD a little bit from the perspective that it has some templates built into it that would imply that you can kind of imagine UI experiences with it. I have never used it for that purpose. I can tell you that based on what I look at, if you have access to Adobe XD, and of course everyone does there is a free tier, definitely use XD because you can then prototype the thing on your device and you can have that experience, which I think is essential to actually seeing how these things work. And you have tons and tons of control and they're very beautiful. However, maybe for low fidelity stuff, your mileage may vary and some people like it a lot. Anyway, this is Miro. And Miro is, interestingly, it's optimized for both touch and mouse, and it's figured out that I've got a mouse. You have a large canvas like this. Very exciting. You can invite many, many collaborators to it. I've not used it extensively with collaboration, but I know that people do. And it has lots of templates. So I'm actually just going to flip over to my boards. And first of all, seeing as we're talking about Adobe XD, I'll show you the kind of integration it does have. So what you can do in Miro and XD together is that you can import an XD project screen and then have conversations about that and put sticky notes on it and say, "Ooh, I liked that," or "I didn't like it," or whatever. And this, just so you know that I'm not, making things up. I'm just going to open one of my cloud documents. Just so you know, it's from this prototype I made. So this is just a fake app I put together to show how you could build apps essentially in XD. And here you can import that thing. And the way that you do that is you go down to this ellipsis menu, or a kebab or meatballs or whatever you call them. Go to Adobe XD and you have to paste the share link. So what we're going to do is go here, go to the share link, and yes, we shall update the link. And we shall copy the link, paste your link. And then you can view your artboards. You select an artboard, you say insert, bloop. Now what I can do is collaboratively with other people, I can have people comment on that through using stickies. So here are my stickies. Oh, I'm going to put down a sticky. Ooh, I like this. Oh, I like this especially because you can see how the text wrapped and it responsively moved the text around like this. I can also, so I'm going to add another sticky. It does give you some controls for fonts, font size, justification, you can put in hyperlinks. You can also connect things. What? And then you can move your stickies around and they stay connected. This is kind of what I expect from a whiteboard tool, or rather from a flowcharting tool where you have connectors. I have to date myself. I started with, things like Visio or OmniGraffle or tools like that. They kind of work this. You connect objects, you move them around, they're responsive, and that's how they work. And I can't pull these things apart. It's fun. I can draw very easily. Actually, that's a horrible color. Let's pick something else. I really like this part. So you can see how I didn't have to enter into another mode. I can just draw on top of my object. It's a little bit, it's having a few challenges there, keeping up with the mouse. But, for the purposes of saying, oh, I like this part. It's useful. There's a number of other things here I'm not going to go into. I can say under here, the Wireframe Library, that's where I mentioned that you can prototype kind of mobile experiences in. Actually, let's just take a look at it. You can prototype mobile experiences and websites in a kind of sort of low fidelity way. Maybe sort of useful, but you should just use XD. Use XD for this. Yeah. Where Miro is also good is that it's got really good wireframing capabilities here. So you can see that this is a mind map. So here I created a mind map where it's like, I'm bored, so I'm going to do something. So I'm going to shop. As many people do. Where? And I can add other things to it. Ooh, add other shapes. Online. Or I can click here. But you can see you can also do multiple branching as well too, and it follows this object around. I can change the hierarchy. You can see this is like totally fun. In fact, I'm just going to check there's still people watching now. If any of you are online, I'm just going to do. Here's what's nice. Enter emails. Anyone with the link. Ho. This is dangerous. Actually, let's make anyone can comment. I'll put the board link in the chat. Why not? Let it rip. So this is actually quite easy to do and quite nice. Does it have templates? Well, let me tell you. There are a number of new templates. If you go to New Board, it gives you a number of different templates in Miro. Recommended, popular, building blocks, demo boards, meetings, and workshops. So we've got some of the similar other boards that we saw in XD. What's different, though, is what I like about the XD whiteboard is that it had that built-in help right here where it explained how to use this effectively. That is a great feature. This does not have that. What I'll also mention just in general, and I've read this elsewhere in various different user forums, is people are sometimes baffled by the user interface in Miro, where you have a bunch of tools on the left here and a bunch of tools on the bottom and a bunch of other icons and a bunch of icons up here. And sometimes it's a little bit of a hide and go seek to figure out where it is the thing is that you're looking for. So that's a bit confusing. But I'll flip back to, there are some really nice templates. I wasn't wildly enthusiastic about that board. Oh, this is the Adobe XD integration. No, it's not the one. Prioritization. So there's some nice boards like this where you can have like importance and urgency boards. So you have a bunch of stickies here. You could do a collaborative exercise with other people and you say, what's urgent? I need to buy more food, buy more, guitar pedals. That's pretty urgent, I would say. Oh, no, I want a sticky, so I can grab a sticky from over here. We're going to put paper towel. I heard that paper towel is a hot commodity these days at the grocery stores, that and toilet paper. And some of these templates are actually quite nice in Miro. Another example is a flowchart. So this is where I really liked the Miro flowchart. So I created a flowchart. What do I need to do? New rad sounds required for shoegazing. Here's a pedal. I'm able to import an image. That was kind of fun. I want to purchase a new guitar pedal. Do I need another one? Yes. How many pedals does one really need? N+1, or at least 20. Or no, just, use what you have. These are nice too, because these are live. So I can double click on this. I can move it. I can edit it. I can change the color. Oof, not enough contrast there. That would not meet accessibility guidelines. Okay, there we go. Again, very nice. You can do some other funny things. This is an example of you can import a web page into Miro, which is basically like, I guess it's like a glorified screenshot, although the resolution is actually pretty good. You can zoom in here and see it quite clearly. Not quite clear why it's gray. It rendered some pages in a very strange way. Like, I get the idea. You can bring in a web page and then you could like critique it and talk about it using stickies and so on, and kind of take it apart and think about how the design could be improved. But like I said, the way it rendered some pages was bizarre. So yes, your mileage may vary. The other thing is it creates nice, you can create like nice charts really easily. So you can say, hey, I want a new chart. So you can double click on here, and this is the battle G.I. Joe. Remember, in G.I. Joe, winning is half the battle, and then the other part of the battle is blue lasers and red lasers. So it automatically calculates these. So if I said it was 0, it would do something like that. What's odd is I couldn't immediately figure out as a user how to change the color of these slices or modify this very much. I guess I'm sort of used to Keynote, which you have like gobs and gobs and gobs of control, and this much less so. But, hey, it's still pretty good. It works well, and it's very responsive. So why complain when you could just use it and enjoy it? What else did I like about Miro? Commenting, drawing, the arrows are great. You can put text wherever you want. Hello, although that's tiny. And then, of course, it has these handles, and you can connect things to things. Oh, this connects to this idea, which I think connects to this idea over here. Yeah, it's very good. And, of course, you can modify those arrows. Let's actually just zoom in here. By the way, I'm using the Option key and the scroll wheel to kind of make my way around. I can change the kind of arrow. I can say that there are arrows at both ends. I was confused by this dialogue originally where I was like, oh, I don't get it. Or you can flip it around like this. I want the arrow to go this way or that way. What the appearance of the arrow is. And yes. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of what Miro can do. Quite nice. So a lot more participants, live flowcharts, mind maps. The stickies are great. There's quite a number of integrations, although, like I said, your mileage may vary. Something I didn't point out actually in the XD one was funny enough, is that when you do bring in one of these things, I forgot to mention, these aren't live. When it really comes down to it, this is a ping file. If I click on this, I get this ping file. It's a ping file. Not a particularly high resolution ping file. Maybe something to work on. The next tool is Mural. It's really unfortunate that these two tools are similarly named. Real drag. So let's go back to our fantastic thread here. So Miro scored quite high, and I know it's popular at our institution, but Padlet scored the highest. I'm going to go to that one last, but we're just going to cover Mural. I'm going to pause for a second and have a quick, I think this is coffee. Espresso. So we'll take a look at Mural. And it was actually it was a faculty member in our Strategic Foresight and Innovation program who said, oh, you should have a look at this. So I am. And I'm going to look at, there were a couple of different, let's try and do some of the same things I did before. So here's a template, which is a kind of what worked well and what didn't work well, how to improve remote teaching and learning. So you can create, so here's like what needs to change. People need extra displays, more fun. Let's add another sticky. I'm going to click a sticky here. I can get a 3x3 sticky note. Less friction. Similar controls, responsive in the sense that the text size changes as I scale this up and scale it down. Again, there's this navigator here, which shows you the whole size of the area that you have to work in, much like Miro. Miro has the same thing here, except this is, oh, interesting. It's not showing up here. Doop, 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 doop. A big old blank display. Haha. Some of these, because we're working in the web browser. Now, actually, I wanted to say there are desktop apps for some of these applications. I'm not using them, partially because I want it to be a kind of agnostic experience, because many of your users will be, who knows what they're going to be using, whether it's a Mac or a PC or, my goodness, even Linux. And, web browser, it's kind of common denominator for all of us. And honestly, some of these other applications, well, anyway, we won't go there. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, sticky notes work well. I can adjust the size of text. I can change the color of them. Fairly straightforward. Okay, great. I can create different sizes of sticky notes. What's an unanswered question? How long will we be teaching remotely? And different shapes. That's kind of nice. So this is actually a default Mural template. So I'm going to back out to the dashboard. There's some other, if I go to templates, one thing I'll say is that what impressed me most about Mural is that there is the greatest diversity of templates. There's a greater diversity to me in terms of the kinds of templates that are provided that are very rich and beautiful to look at, much like the XD templates. And one that I really liked very much was there was this problem prioritization template that was actually created by New Haircut. And so first of all, you have this, and what's great about it is, well, there's this outline where it tells you how to use the template. It tells you that there are free resources that you can get access to. So what this is you are putting together a bunch of stickies as to figure out what are your motivators. So what's the win that's driving you? The harbor is where do you want to get to? The anchors are what's holding you back. And then the icebergs are what are the things you need to watch out for. And if you go to this toolkit, you have to sign up and give away your personal information and so on. But you get a keynote, slide deck, and a PDF guide. It's actually pretty great what they're providing, because I really thought that this was a very sensible way to think about problem solving. And then you kind of move on. There's other kind of frameworks built into Miro and Adobe XD for working through categorizing problems, where the sweet spot is. But yes, I liked this quite a lot. And also that the help is built in, just like Adobe XD. Good job, XD team. Like that so much. So yeah, templates, real good. I will go back to, here's just a general test page. And I'm going to show you some of the connectors. Yes, you can connect things. Have these nice Bezier curves. I must be like super zoomed out here. Whoop. Very nice. And now these two things are connected. That's good. Like it. Lots of templates here. Allows you to search. Oh, you can search Creative Cloud. Well, I did not know that. Isn't that amazing? You can import files, like generally quite nice. You can share, you can make this private. These tools also have voting session, like they have some other tools built into them where people can vote on things. What's interesting is I don't see, I thought that, oh, mind maps template. Let's have a look. I was just going to say the mind maps in Miro are really nice. The mind maps here, this is reminding me a little bit of choose one mind map and ungroup them to edit the eventual. See, again, I want to take the approach of like, if you were to show this to a bunch of students, we're going to ungroup this. If you were going to show this to a bunch of students or use this in a facilitated group, you would want to do as little advanced work to show them how to use the tool and just kind of get them started. Okay, so this is relatively straightforward. So now how do I, if I want to add a box to that, yes. So this is like not quite as elegant. Can I go to the end of this? Ah, yes, I can. I can go to the end of this and say, genius. Although, is it connected? Yes, it's connected. Okay, so you have to click on the endpoint and then it gives you another sticky. So actually these are this is like, my gut feeling is good, not quite as like Miro has this like kind of magical quality with those mind maps. I quite like them, but this is pretty great. Enjoy this. I'm going to back out of here and I just wanted to see if there was anything else here. No, I think that sort of more or less covers that tool. Now we're going to look at Padlet. Wow, this is like a completely rush tour through this whole thing. I'm going to show you 3 things that Padlet does. Padlet's a bit different. So it's got these boards, for example, where you can create categories of things and people can collaborate and say, cats, do we like those? Upvote those? Yes, I like cats. No, computers are awful. No, actually, I like computers. You can add, so you can double click or you can click this plus sign. It allows you to create another board. People use these, and you can this is a free form one. You can have them create them in grids. You can see that I created the desk lunch theme. So it allows you to upload a background image and customize it to make it look the way that you want it to look, which is quite nice. And actually, why don't I show you how to do that? Make a Padlet. So here are the options, the general options. So that is a wall, I believe. No, that was a canvas. That was a canvas. My apologies. We'll try the wall. And we'll pick a wallpaper. We're going to make it dark because I'm dark. I'm going to add my own wallpaper. I'm going to upload an image. Oh, look, there's the image I uploaded earlier, the desk lunch theme. Oh, wow. And I can blur it as well, too. Nice. So it's like it's in the background. Oh. Thoughtful. Attribution, yes, I do want that. I do want comments. I'm going to allow people to upvote or downvote things. Or actually, no, people can like things. And no moderator, and we're going to filter profanity just because. What's nice is you can actually pop in images right here. Oh my. This, these are all Creative Commons through Unsplash. Let's try a simpler. Oh, okay. And I thought that this functionality was really quite elegant. Let's see what happens if I try to put my website. Just watch it fail. I do not have the fastest web host. Oh! Wow, look at that. Actually, that's not bad. So quite like this. This is probably a really great way to come up with ideas, and if you can stack. Oh yes, this is a wall. So I can reorder these. I'll go back to Padlet. Padlet had some specific ones that the other ones didn't have, so it's a bit different actually. I like this. So this was a timeline. So I had this come up with an idea, do some research, synthesize ideas, and then I can click on the timeline and add additional things. So I felt this was a bit unique versus Mural or Miro. So I think really useful for certain kinds of assignments that you might be doing with students. I could see this being like super popular in K-12, where individual students could create timelines of, historical events or like how to follow a process. Really nice. And then the last one I thought, which was quite interesting, was a map. So this one was also unique. So I did a little map of, these are all the art and design institutions in Canada. Zoom, zoom, zoom. So here we go. We've got Emily Carr, Alberta College of Art and Design, OCAD, and NASCAD. Yay! Woo woo! Go Canada! And it's very easy to add additional things. So like if we wanted to do, let's do SCAD in Georgia. Savannah College of Art and Design. There we go. Amazing. And then we can even look for a picture of it. Oh, no, I didn't want that. There we go. Well, that's probably not it. Anyway, point being, it's very easy to create these really rich maps, which I was quite impressed with. Then in the gallery. Oh, interesting. These are publicly shared Padlets. Amazing. Timelines. Oh, Great Gatsby discussion questions. Again, for a certain kind of use case, makes a lot of sense, but not exactly the same as other tools. So I'm sort of curious as to that, going back to my original, what is your fancy online collaboration whiteboard tool of choice, that Padlet came up so high. I think that for artists and designers, they want more visual. That's not fair either. And anyway, I think perhaps Padlet has some metaphors built into it that are more applicable to a broader range of curriculum. I think maybe that's the point. But regardless, that was a really quick look at a great many tools. There are more out there. There are new ones being created every day. Like I said, going back to Adobe XD, Adobe XD has some really great templates built into it. It's very beautiful. It has all the power of Adobe fonts and the XD controls. I really like these how-to guides that are built into it. If this were to mature and were additional co-editing authors to be added, and some of these small concerns about lines connecting and being more dynamic and so on, like, this would be great, because it would be really wonderful to be able to do all these things within, kind of one application. And I also like that it's a desktop application. Well, I guess each has their benefits. I'm now going back on what I was saying about the having it in the browser being a kind of equalizer. But a design workflow involves a great number of tools, and it'd be great if I'd love to see this tool be further developed, because this is a great start, and clearly, there is no one tool that does it all, and is perfect. In any case, I very much appreciate you turning up for desk lunch this time. I'm going to put some linky links in here, and actually maybe what I'll do is I'll pop these in the chat. There's some really good discussions online about which remote tools should you be using, both with some great valid points. I'm just going to put those in the chat. You can't post the same comment twice. Oh, did I try and attempt to? Yes, I did. Huh. I see. In any case, yeah. So definitely check those out. Tell me what you're using. Either pop that in the chat or hit me up on Twitter. And until then, stay safe and stay sane. It's not fun times out there, people. There's the numbers are going up, and we all need to do our part to flatten the curve if we can. And yes, enjoy your week.